exciting news to share with you.
We just raised $30 million.
Today we are celebrating a huge milestone for Interactio. The largest Series A round among remote simultaneous interpretation platforms, the largest Series A round in Lithuania ever, and one of the largest Series A rounds in the Baltics. We welcome newly joined investors based in Silicon Valley and London, Storm Ventures, 8 Roads, Notion, and the angel investors that just joined this round, Sun Yun, Chief Strategy Officer at Samsung, one of the co-founders at Skype, Jan Tallinn. Those people believed in our mission and decided to join us towards making sure that 8 billion people can all speak their preferred languages. That's our mission and vision. And we're also here today to celebrate the always humble, hardworking, and impact-driven team Interactio. What those people did over the last years brought us to this tremendous growth where we are today. So we decided to gather here and discuss all the insights, to give back to the community, to share the lessons learned, and show you this all road through sweat and tears that led us to what we have today. And today we have 2 out of 3 co-founders, me and Henrikas, and 2 first investors, Donatas Keras from Praktika VC and Mindaugas Bružas, the first man who actually gave us the money, the first angel investor. You will also hear videos from 2 very significant people who were not able to join us today. Mantas Mikuckas, COO at Vinted, who happened to invest in Interactio in the early days, and Andris Berzins from Change Ventures. He met us back in 2017, invested in 2018, and became our chairman of the board.
Hello, my name is Parsisiuskite, and I am a partner at Storm Ventures.
Hi, I'm Tehi Nam. I'm also a partner at Storm Ventures, and Storm is an early-stage venture capital fund based in Silicon Valley, investing worldwide in B2B software companies. And we'd like in particular to help companies along their entire startup journey to become a global leader.
We really enjoy collaborating with European entrepreneurs. And I'm not just saying that because I'm French. We have invested in a lot of companies in Europe, like Algolia with roots in France, Talkdesk with roots in Portugal, and even in the Baltics with Pipedrive.
We got first introduced to Enriquez and the company through Andris, one of your early investors. To show how small the world is, Andris, even though he lives in Latvia, is good friends with Bob Tinker, who was a co-author of mine on Survival to Thrival, and Bob and I also worked at 2 startups. Bob and Andris went to Stanford Business School together many years ago. So it just shows how, even though we're on different sides of the globe, we're all interconnected here. The other thing about Interactio, which sort of intrigued me in the beginning, is when Enriquez was telling me about the first customers. The use case that he gave was Korean churches, and how in Korean churches, you would have an English speaking piece, or it could be a Korean speaking sermon, but half the audience doesn't understand Korean. That resonated with me because I grew up in St. Louis, Missouri, going to Korean churches where I didn't understand most of the sermon.
So we were instantly impressed by Enriquez, his drive, his authenticity, and his sense of humor. But what was also impressive was the massive market they started disrupting during 2020 and the spectacular set of customers they added in less than 6 months. We realized that between the corporate world and the institution space, we were looking at a multi-billion-dollar market ripe for disruption.
As Pascal mentioned, we get very excited about companies that are disrupting large markets and are getting good traction. But the other thing that really excited us is that as we got to know Enriquez and the other co-founders really well, maybe too well from their perspective, we became more and more impressed with each one of them, with their passion, their commitment to the enterprise, and also just how they're continually trying to unlearn to become better and to help the company get to the next level.
Thanks to our discussions with multiple customers, we got to appreciate even more the power of the team. We heard from customers delighted by the speed and quality of the execution from one release to another. We heard about the kindness and humility of a team open to listen to the needs of the customer, take feedback, and collaborate to move the project in the right direction. As a VC, we are used to hearing positive feedback from customers, but in Interactio's case, we heard from raving fans.
Pascal and I and everyone at Storm are very excited to be part of the Interactio company journey. It's been very impressive on how you've gotten to this stage, survived many tough moments and then really thrived last year, capitalizing upon the market conditions. And we're hopeful going forward that we can help you do even better in your company journey. And we're excited to be part of it. Thank you.
Congratulations, guys. You are super thrilled to join the adventure and happy to be part of the celebration. Bye.
Hi, everyone. I'm Lucille Cornet. I'm a partner at 8 Road Ventures. We're a global venture capital firm with offices in the US, in Asia, and Europe. And we have 6 billion under management. And all we do is invest in technology scale-ups. And I'm particularly excited today to be able to announce that we've invested in Interactio. We've known Enriquez and the team for a number of years now. And what we saw in Interactio is really a company born in the Baltics with the ability to create a global leader in its market. It's very interesting because I thought I would use a couple of stats, but I think 94% of people in the world don't use English as their first language, and 75% of people don't speak English at all. So language barriers are still a very large problem. And in fact, I think there's 8 billion market opportunity of interpretation services already used today. But that industry has been stuck in the Middle Age. You still have interpreters traveling to events, you still have them sitting in a soundproof booth, and you still have attendees using a headphone to listen to interpretation. In many ways, this experience is broken and very expensive. And bringing remote interpretation into the online world has been a dramatic change. And of course, with COVID helping, we saw that catalyst and a very, very strong growth for Interactio in 2020, which has been adopted by very tier one institutions such as European Parliament, United Nations, but also very large corporates like BMW, JP Morgan, or Canon. We've been extremely impressed by the team, and we're extremely excited now that on the backing of this large Series A to see what we're going to be able to do. So I just wanted to extend my huge congratulations to the full team, to Enriquez, Simona, Domas, Marius, and the full Interactio team. I can't wait to see what you're going to do next.
Hey guys, my name is Mantas and I'm proud angel investor of Interactio since 2015. So this is the year I met them at a startup pitch event, and from all the teams I heard, they were the only ones I really want to talk to immediately. And basically a few reasons. One, the team was super energetic, super enthusiastic, passionate about their product. And second, they really convinced me that live events, remote interpretation is something that hasn't been disrupted for a while. And so many things doesn't make sense in that industry anymore. So I thought, okay, they have something. And soon after then, we had few long conversations about, life and everything. And after all the crazy stories I heard from Enriquez and the team, how they went through so many challenges and how they dealt with them, I realized, okay, this is the winning team. There is no too big challenge for them. I have to bet on them. So this is why when I decided to invest. And, to illustrate that resilience and the survival instinct they have, Probably the best story is from the recent years. So when pandemic came last year, I was going through my portfolio companies and thinking, okay, which companies is gonna get the biggest hit and how can I help them actually? And I sorted this list from the highest impact to the lowest impact, and on the very top was actually Interactio, because back then they were still very much reliant on live events, and I thought, with this situation, we're not gonna have any live events anytime soon. So I just called immediately to Henrikas and asked, hey man, how you're doing? How do you see the current situation? It's probably gonna be very challenging. So this is how I told that, and he said, no, Mantas, this is a big opportunity. Big events will not happen, but remote people will meet remotely and in big groups, and they're gonna need remote interpretation. So what we're gonna do, we actually gonna solve that problem with our tool, and we're gonna improve that software that is gonna be the best for that. And I said, like, this is something like Zoom, right? And he said, no, it's actually better. You're gonna see it's gonna be way better, especially if you need remote interpretation and stuff like that. So I thought, okay, these guys are crazy. Let's see how it works out. And a few months later, I get email from Henrikas. He shared with all investors the recent results, and the subject of the email was, we had record month ever, the best sales, and the most contracts signed. So guys, this is amazing. I'm so proud of you. And after so many bumpy roads, we were drawing together. You finally hit the highway. So Godspeed to you. I'm very proud. And best of luck.
But let's get the story from the beginning. We'll share our road with you today. And you could think that Interactio story started in 2015 when we actually entered the event space, where in fact it started 1 year earlier when Henrikas found me and Domas, approached us having a solution to a very particular problem, which was not simultaneous interpretation replacement with an app, but actually something very different, also in the audio streaming space. So Henrikas, can you share a little bit what was this first year, how it all started, and how we bootstrapped all the way?
Yeah, good memories. So we started with the idea to replace wireless microphones at live events, so people don't need to raise their hands or queue in the line for the microphone and avoid all those unnecessary actions in the Q&A part of the conference or event. And we wanted to put the wireless microphone in your phone, so you simply click your button on your phone and everyone can hear you as you're speaking to the microphone. So that was the initial idea. Sounded like a great solution for the conferences and live events. And our initial plans, and I was just reviewing the first emails we were exchanging between Simon and Domas, that look, this is the market, we'll do this in 1 month, the second month we will reach this milestone, third month we will finish with investment, and we'll move forward very fast forward. And we realized that it takes much more time and energy. So although there's lots of enthusiasm in the beginning because of the newborn idea, but it took lots of sacrifices and lots of no's to get to where we are right now. So the first year, all of us didn't have any income, and just we were living on the idea to change those wireless microphones in the market. But we kind of kept our ears open to our potential clients and so on, and we learned that this wireless microphone solution can actually be solving much bigger problem, which was simultaneous interpretation. So I'm very happy that we were focused at the very beginning, one of the best startups in Lithuania, titles and so on, but we still listen to the client to really understand the problem that they are facing. So it's definitely was a very difficult year as we were challenging with how even to get from Klaipėda to Vilnius because the whole ecosystem was just building here. In Klaipėda, no one heard what's the startup. So you even had to bootstrap your trips, like hitchhike, convince minibus drivers to take you in and get you to the Klaipėda. And so thankful for those people that actually made it happen. So lots of challenges, but fantastic memories also from that time.
And actually, Mindaugas invested back when we still had a microphone and like we were close to pivot there probably. And I still remember how you used to go with us to all the educational events that were happening in the office where we're close by. We would sit down, he would give us insights, kind of coached us throughout the way. He was always there for us. What made you to believe in the super early stage idea, like crazy idea, something that was never there in the market in the first place? And maybe you can share how it was like back then. What were you thinking?
Honestly, it was really easy because I have known Henrikas already for a few years, as I hired him for pretty important role in our company as head of one of departments, and I know the approach, how he do the things, his responsibility level, how he fast can learn things and adapt along the way. Yeah, and we reached quite good results back then. So it's everything about the people, and even I remember you, Simona, also helped us in these days to manage one brainstorm session or something, right? So as everyone knows, like in very beginning, it's everything about the people. So that was the main trigger why it was easy to help financially at first. It was not a big money, right? But in very beginning, it was probably very important, right? And the next thing, of course, as I had some managing experience, it was really delightful to help, right? So, and so something helped, something maybe not.
And this was also one of the lessons that helped you.
Yeah, I was encouraged by you guys, so I decided to, to finish this corporate job and jump to the startup world. So, yeah, right now we building speech analytics platform for call centers to improve customer retention, and I would like to say that we're already doing that 1.5 years. And probably we'll go through all the similar stages what you had, but it's much easier when you know that already. You saw the journey and the result, so it's much more comfortable to do that right now and go over all these hard times. Yeah.
So. Coming back to our storyline, it was quite interesting that in 2015, when you joined already, you invested in us, and then little by little we started getting, we got this pivot moment, as Henrikas explained, like we moved to simultaneous interpretation equipment. Mindaugas still left with us. He joined almost every investment round since then, by the way, even though we pivoted completely.
I think every single round.
Actually, yeah.
I think, yes. Yeah.
Wow.
So.
And then we pivoted to simultaneous interpretation, equipment replacement by a software, by an app. And then what happened is that we were kind of pushed by the market in a way. We were listening to what our clients were saying. And one of the early clients that really pushed this forward was a city church in Klaipėda. like a church that we knew from a university that me and Henrika studied. And that was very interesting. I think a kind of pivotal moment also for our company, because this is when we actually realized that we're not here to replace hardware into software, but we're actually doing something more. This is where we kind of, I think, even build our values and everything, because you don't really have to be religious even to understand the impact that those messages have to people. And that was extremely interesting. Henrika, can you share a little bit about that pivotal moment?
I think overall it was not only pivotal for us, for the company only or as a product, but it was very strong moment, I guess, for all of us as a founding team, because initially it was the microphone solution, and the pivot to the interpretation solution was more pragmatic to replace hardware to software and so on. But when we started working with the city church in Klaipėda, and so thankful that it trusted us with this very important tool for them. But then when we start going to US and experiencing how the churches are working there, and how the whole society is changing. I think in Lithuania we still, even though we think like we're very global, but we're still experiencing less of the globalization here. And in US you clearly see that predominantly white American neighborhoods became very mixed ones, and you have Spanish, Latinos, you have Chinese, Koreans, Japanese, and so on, and everything is one place. So we saw how traditional churches were struggling to reach those people, and they saw that if they can put those people together in one place, a lot of bridges can be built together in that society. So I think when we started experiencing that, and Yale University around that time did amazing research, how impactful the single service in the church with mixed languages, how big an impact it can make for the neighborhood. So they started seeing that there are more marriages between different groups of people, more gatherings, more understanding in the community. The crime rate is going down, the income is going up, and so on. So that single moment when you enable people to speak in their preferred language, the bonds start happening because there's a clear understanding what each group is going through. And we got that. We got, when we were visiting those churches ourselves, people would come and hug you and cry and tell their stories, how they were thinking about suicide just because of the language barrier. And I think at that time we were naive that Google Translate can solve this problem, but it cannot. Like, people were seriously thinking about suicide. Marriages were breaking off because they couldn't get the assistance, and so on. And with the simpler solution to enable interpreter to be anywhere in the world, and people using their phones to receive that interpretation, you can have such a huge impact in someone's life, in human's life. So, and I think it really changed how we look at this problem, and I think this is where we realize that we don't want to do just a sizable business or make this replacement from hardware to software, but actually to enable those billions of people to speak in their preferred language and build those small neighborhoods and communities around the world so everyone understands each other better. So if we can reach that result in small neighborhood, we can scale this in the whole world. So the crime could go down, the wars can stop, and so on. So just because we can understand each other better. So I think it was a huge shift, and it allowed us, I guess, to go through every single drop or obstacle in our way, because we saw those human eyes that were so thankful for what we were doing and helping them.
And so much time passed, actually, but that kind of built the basis for our culture. Even like our mission, build bridges to limitless knowledge, kind of came from there, since we realized what we're actually doing there. It's not about software or hardware at all. Yeah, that was basis for many things. And then 2016 came, and then we started scaling things up outside churches, but still, like, we used to do, 100 churches, 100 events per Sunday or so, like, that was like growing. And we signed TEDx partnership, like, we became their global partner. We started to go out to conference sector little by little. And this is when Praktika Capital finally agreed to invest in us.
Finally.
Because we used to pitch so much with Henrikas in all the startup events everywhere. And Donatas was in the jury, usually, like, giving a really hard time with his questions. And they finally, like, saw that, okay, this is it. Like, even though it was still very early, actually, 2016. And when you think about it, the ecosystem there, like we discussed that a while ago with Donatas, it was completely different. Like when you talk about the whole Baltic startup ecosystem, now it's even hard to imagine for the people who were not there. When we started, it took us a while to realize that we're a startup. It was not, let's start a startup, it was, let's solve a problem. Oh, there's a technology that could do that. And then you kind of see that there's a little community there. You can go to talk to them, you can pitch at the event, get feedback and questions.
I think it was also very important to have, even though the ecosystem was still young, but surrounding you with the people that that went through similar things and so on, are very helpful, right? Just having Mantas sharing vintage challenges when you think, okay, they already solved everything, was so helpful just to put that mentally that you're not alone, like everyone or Donatas sharing others' startup story. You understand that, okay, you're not alone, it's not a unique situation that you're solving. And I'm so happy that in 2019 we got co-investicinis fondas and angel syndicate, where we kind of expanded the ecosystem by including them in our journey, and it was a very interesting process, I guess, for all of us to go through this journey. And at that moment, it was definitely impactful for us because as startup goes ups and downs and so on, so they believed in what we were doing and really helped. So I don't know how it stands in family, friends, and later, but they definitely were also local friends and in a way angels that were understanding who we are, where we're coming from, and supported what we're doing. So I think it was a very good moment.
What do you remember from those days, Donatas? Like, what was this ecosystem like?
Right, so it was amazing time, of course. 2016 was already not the early days, right? We have already first generation of companies. Vinted already had an investment from global VC, right? And a couple other companies in our portfolio already also kind of been passed around. But yeah, you're right. It was completely different that is right now. And however, you guys kind of ticked all the real boxes for startup, right? You have 3 founders, one is technical, one CEO, one marketing sales, right? Perfect. It's good. You have idea to change hardware to software, which always works, right, in a way. And yes, and we kind of skipped you twice before before pivots, but your dedication and pivots and ability to come back, it's something which was very important, right? It was very important, and it was a decision from third time, but I think it was the right moment, right? It still was very right, and we should call it pre-seed round, and it was probably not that well kind of put in a perspective what exactly what we're going to do, but the market fit was there already, early, right? All things are starting to come together, so it was a good decision. It was interesting and good decision, and I'm happy what we've done. But it actually was one of the last investments from our early generation funds in that early stage. So that was saying, oh my God, it's going to take years for these guys to build some big things. It's going to take years, and yes, exactly, we've been right about that. But years have come, right? The time has come, so it's amazing. But yes, so ecosystem was small, right? I think it grew 10 times from then till now, and you are still for first generation of tech entrepreneurs, right? And when I make an intro to Henrikas, I always mention that, you know, he's one of the kind of first generation tech entrepreneurs and who actually brought and still shape the culture of Lithuanian ecosystem. You guys are shaping this culture, right? So exactly what we're doing today, right? We wanted to give a little bit of backstage knowledge, not knowledge, but experience what we had at that time and how things happened in one or another way, right? So it was cool time. It was a great time, and it was, everybody need courage to do things. Everybody, all our investors, investors in a fund, when I was presenting the new case which we invested, sometimes he said, "Oh my God, unbelievable! How you can do these things, you know?" And that's always right. And you always have to defend the case. But you know, I done some crazy investments in the past. That's true. I done some really mistakes investing, and that's also true. In your case, we've been very clear about the, you know, the market. We've been very clear about the product market fit, very early stage, and we've been very clear that, you know, it's full team, full setup of people who can think what we want to do without any additional help. So that was kind of very important, you know, and good match. And of course, I would like to find Mindaugas as an angel also. It was not that typical at the time, right? Because it's very clear. We go to an angels, we get 150, and then we go to VCs with some traction. At the time, usually I was the first person to talk, and it was so much more kind of comfortable to find somebody who already trusted you, who was on a journey for almost 2 years, right? And can give, when I was not sure if Henrikas or Simona is telling something entirely true or not kind of to the core, I always could call Mindaugas and ask, so tell me what happened 2 years ago, right? And that was good. So that was very interesting setup, and I think very classical startup at the end, right? With real angel. Oh my God, that's amazing. So,
yeah.
Family, friends.
FFF, right? As always, right? As always. But that was real angel, right? Like a family. Seems like a family, right?
Yeah, and I still remember, I think that was the first board meeting or something right after investment when Donatas was saying, guys, now you have a little bit of money. First of all, of course, I think this was when we paid our salaries, like finally.
First time, right?
Yeah,
Right?
that was great. But then he said, now you need to invest in yourself because we're super young back then, right after university. Like I worked 1 year outside, Henrikas worked 2 years, that's it. So we were very hungry, but for
Literally.
information, and
Literally also hungry, yes.
And Donatas suggested to start investing in ourselves in market education and so on. And this is when we packed our luggages and went to US to talk to the people who are using our system for a while already. And this is when we actually got out, not only in the Lithuanian ecosystem, but started to see and talk to the users and talk to our clients. And that was big changes, I think. And in 2017, I think our market was pretty early. Like there were two, max 3 players in the whole industry, and like nobody knew about this. So we had to do a lot of education for the market. So that was like very strange times, and we kept growing little by little. And this is when, in 2018, Change Ventures joined. We met Andres in 2017, I think, in the Login conference. We were telling how we are working with churches and scaling them and creating something real magical there. And he was like, wow, okay, you actually like have business there, okay. And in 2018, we closed that round. So then they joined and I think brought also a lot of interesting things. And Andres actually recorded us a video to watch. So we'll have a chance to see it now.
I first met Henrikas and Simona at Login in 2016. I was captivated by their energy, enthusiasm, and excitement to build their business, and was impressed by their hustle to find a small niche, evangelical churches, as their first beachhead market to launch their product and get paying customers in the door. We did not have a fund established at the time, but when we did, the first investment Change Ventures made was Interactio, who kindly extended their seed round to accommodate our investment. What followed was 5 years of really hard work. On the sales side, looking for the early customers that were willing to pick up something new, use it, and pay for it. On the development and product side, to keep adding features, fix bugs, work around edge cases, implement customer requests that got them closer and closer to product market fit. And on the fundraising side, to keep raising enough money to keep the dream alive and growing, despite the fact that success definitely did not come overnight. I believe that the best founding teams have luck also, but it is luck of their making. The pandemic definitely accelerated the demand for Interactio's solution from the market segment that was until then one of the slowest moving, intergovernmental organizations. But it's all the hard work that the Interactio team did to have the right solution at the right time that allowed them to take advantage of this opportunity. At Change Ventures, our tagline is that we back ambitious Baltic founders. We're so proud that our very first investment, Interactio, has been proven to be just that. And we're excited for the next chapter of growth that includes our investor friends, Storm Ventures and 8 Roads, who we think will be perfect partners to help the company reach new heights. Onward and upward.
And then 2019 were the year of the breakthrough for us. We started to work with the really large events. We got Web Summit, the largest tech event in the world. I think they claim to be 70,000 people. We got the Send event in Brazil, that was 60,000 people. And we started to scale things, and we started doing something that seemed impossible before. Those people connect, and it actually works. Everybody just listen by one play button, they listen to the interpretation. That was insane. The Send event, for the preparation, I think the team actually watched it from the home. There was like a streaming, and we see the arena of people, and they are using Interactio. Like, how can this be happening? So this was a breakthrough for many reasons. And then at the end of a year, actually before that, middle of the year, the meetings for ISO standard creation started. So in a way, we started like proactively talking to institutions, to hardware manufacturers, to interpreters, trying to define this remote interpretation and in a way decriminalize it, because it was still, there were no standards for it, like what should be the quality, and we wanted to be part of forming that quality. Since we had a pretty strong technology, I would say the strongest at the market back then. So we were pushing for the higher standards there, and that was very interesting times. And in a way, 2019 was the time when we already started to put some timeline, talking with institutions, starting to plan something together with them. For them, of course, it was like a longer term than planned, but then 2020 hit, and everything changed, and it kind of speeded up and accelerated so many things for us. So whatever we're doing in 2019, it just accelerated that to limitless amounts. So Henrikas can share a little bit about those first months of 2020 when everything changed.
Yeah, definitely. I think in 2020 we got back to our first year plans when everything is month by month. That's correct. Like all the conversations we had in 2019 became harder and harder as we were approaching, I think, March at that time. So different governmental institutions and bodies that we were in contact with, forming the ISO standard and so on, we're reaching out, and instead of those discussed 12, 16 months rollout plans, they were saying, can you do something next week? And we had to do lots of adaptations for the product, which was more for live events and conferences. So the whole team really kind of put the best effort they can. And we literally, I think, worked tirelessly for at least a month. So development team, product team, and support teams, like everyone was literally working every day and night to make changes in the product, to adapt to more hybrid situations where some people are on site, some remote. Interpreters are also in different situations, and it was exciting yet so stressful, because it's not the caliber of the meetings changed significantly now. Instead of, like, let's say, Sunday issue you have in one church, now it's Angela Merkel having issue right now, and the whole team is remote now. and we still don't have proper processes in place how we deal with all the situations at that time. So you're improvising and trying to put something in place to really use the opportunity and at the same time really help those all organizations to continue their work and actually to work towards to finish the pandemic and have that. So team did crazy amount of work to make it happen, because it was really huge work. Everything we did before was helpful, but we needed to reinvent and take lots of risk in different places to adapt to the new situation. So one for product, but then as a whole team, we had to reinvent the way we're working together, as we now cannot go to the client. We cannot sit in one room and quickly brainstorm the ideas and find a solution. So everything is remote. So if I was saying that if I thought that we had hard times before 2020, we could say we haven't worked compared to, especially like end of first quarter and second quarter, what was happening at that time. So if UN calls you, it's a normal day, and you have 500 people in the call.
I remember these 2 months or 3 months when Henrikas was out of reach, right? Not talking about reporting, board meetings, saying how things are going, or replying to SMS, or fundraising because we need money or something. No, it was good. That was a good moment. Everybody felt that it's exactly the time when the value is created and companies building and turning into really global company and global product. So it was amazing time. It was felt, right? But it was tremendous job you guys done. So it's unbelievable. But you have to be prepared for that, right? It's not just pure luck or something, right? It's not like it just happened overnight and just because, right? It's so much, 5 years before that, real hard work and being prepared and knowing the use cases, being prepared, thinking and visualizing these use cases. We've been joking about things that Angela Merkel going to be using that, right? But it happened, right? Yeah. It happened. So that's the mentality, which is very, very important in the companies. You have to dare to think about great success, and when it happens, you have to know what to do, right? So that's important, and you knew what to do. So that is very important.
But do you think you can call that like real product market fit exactly this that time? Kind of, when everyone is saying, yeah, we have product market fit, yeah, each startup saying that, right? And probably the real product market fit is
on the grand scale. I think I could.
No, adoption happened. Market adoption happened overnight. When the need was there, right? Overnight. But I think real market fit happened. The churches, the number of churches when it grew through, I would say 500 different clients with different sets of use cases and different, geographies. Then you can say that that's it. It's done. Right? When we had events from 1 person to 1,000 person, not saying about all these super events, right? Great big events. That's the moment when suddenly everybody understood that this technology, this product just allows you completely different and 10 times easier, access to interpretation. That's it. Bam. No way back. No way back. It's just no way back.
We were making lives better, easier, and cheaper and faster. And then when COVID hit, what happened is that all multilingual communication just stopped. People could not meet if there were a need to interpret to many languages. That's it, like no solution. And we happened to have a solution. It needed some pivots, needed to adaptation. So that is why the team worked for nights. Like in the first couple of months, it was insane. But we made it happen. And at that time, there were a few other solutions in the market already, but for multiple reasons, probably for our work in 2019, like what we actually accomplished in there, we were chosen for many. So that was...
Guys, you remember when we were thinking about a pivot just to do a streaming product to compete with Twitch? No?
We
You just use technology.
No, it was,
Use the technology.
having a technology for Twitch, so
Yes, giving them, because we've been doing the latency was smaller in our case, right? So, but that's amazing, right? I remember a heated discussion about that. That's a great line of new product.
Because we were doing audio streaming in some conferences,
exactly.
right?
So
like not only interpretation.
Yeah, but you know, it's still possible, still a possibility. What do you think? Yeah.
Overall, it seems that a good product, a strong product, should have like at least two things in a way, like have a killer solution to a really strong problem. We always had it from the beginning, and then to have a really good timing. And we got that in 2020 in a way. And we talked like so much right now in this discussion already about the environment of things and how we ended up here and what decisions we made throughout the way and how it allowed us to build the best technology in the market, like the best audio quality, the best quality in general. What are your thoughts, to sum things up, what led us to 2021, like to the situation where we're now, where we're growing in a really fast speed? Like there were many probably factors, but what comes to mind when we talk about it?
Question two.
Everybody.
Yeah, from my perspective, I think one of the main things is like this persistence. I mean, of you founders of the team. I mean, going through all these hard times, and it's kind of you became prepared for even harder times, and when it hit it, you were ready, just like like that. I believe that would be the probably number one reason.
It's probably a combination of many things which led to this current situation where we are ready again to jump to the next level of a company, right? A company building, first of all, product building, and serving our clients and going to your biggest mission, right? So, but just to say what was most important, right? It's I completely echo Mindaugas that persistence and ability to continue to deliver in the middle of the night somewhere in US, plugging church to internet just to be able to do that, right? Continuously have a low number of complaints, or solving these complaints, and and never saying no to a customer. These are things which are very important, right? And you manage to do that, right? This is something what you have in probably in DNA of a company, right? It's from day one. But let's not forget the technology, right? What you have guys had. It is really world class, right? Without that, you probably need army of engineers to solve every issue. It's not possible. Also, it's not scalable. It's not doable. So you even have enough to have this great mix of technology, of ability to sell, actually, which you built over a couple of years. Also, the real ability to sell out of Lithuania, which is important. Ability to dictate the opinion and to be seen as a market leaders and as early winners of the market, but which was all backed by reality, not just claiming, but the reality. And then UN is using you. This is not optics, this is reality, right? So these things, the reality and the current change in the shift, general shift in understanding how technology can enable these events, even not make them happen, but enable them to happen, just puts you in a very important position for a future of any event, right? Or interpretation, or whatever we're going to call it. So the money just follows that, right? The capital just follows great opportunities, great companies, and great leaders in the field. So we can say it's very natural, right? But we know how much it took, right, to reach this position. So, but yes, at the end of the day, it happened what it should have been happening, right?
I remember I was in the first 2 years I was buying carrots and having it as a snack or a full meal. And Donatas, after the first time seeing me, was saying, another one with the carrots. So it took a lot of carrots. But yeah, from my perspective, I think it has always been I would say like the vision and so on, like the impact that we having through the product. So when you clearly see the end user who not, you don't need to like put optics to say that, okay, he's benefiting from the solution, but you have people that, you know, have real tears in their eyes, real hugs that are coming to you and so on. I think it always like gave you extra energy to kind of follow through. And even like when we start working with these massive institutions and huge political bodies that are running the whole world, you still had real human beings that trying to make the best effort to solve a big issue now for the whole planet. So, and I think everyone really understood everyone in the team understood in every single obstacle we had that, you know, that's, we just have to get through this. There was no option like, okay, we'd stop the company. We never had that discussion, should we stop the company? Although we had, I think, gazillion of times when we could do that. So I think it's the impact, understanding of impact that we're making. And I don't think we have that many opportunities in this world left where you actually can kind of touch human life in that sense with the technology.
I definitely agree on the impact, adding in a way. It helped us, and we're so proud for I don't know what, 6 years that we've been hiring people. So few decided to leave the company ever, and just really, like, we could count them on fingers probably. And this is insane rates because people feel that they're adding to some really high impact. We see what changes we make, and it became, I think, allowed us to build the team that we have, and the team actually made it happen. It's not that us founders are under everything. It's actually the team. We have now over 100 people, which is insane, and they have been doing an incredible work here. And so probably right now, this event is being watched by some potential entrepreneurs, maybe somebody starting a business, maybe some potential investors planning to do angel investment or VC. What advices could we give to them after our story, at least? Is there anything you would like to wish them? Maybe some lessons learned from all of those 7 years that we had so far?
I guess I can continue on the last point. I think having not just business idea, but actually having something you could wake up at night and pick up that phone or travel immense lengths to the client to help them, even though it's like a small case for you. I think that's something you have to look for, because then even though it will be hard, it will be much easier because you believe the impact you're making. So I think if you're choosing the idea, try out different things, but look for the one that really drives you to wake up at night or skip the meal to implement. So I think that's biggest learning.
I probably would add on it that you need really, I mean, if you are an entrepreneur, so you need to, before starting, you need to really have a good complementing co-founders, like you guys, right? One tech, one business, one sales marketing is like, as Renata said, like superior team, right? And the second thing is probably that to be prepared for really long journey. It's, I believe Mantas probably said that it's not a sprint, it's a marathon, right? So it's, you should be ready for that and be quite humble about it. And if you have like really strong problem and you believe in the vision and mission what you want to solve, so that is, you know, it's just a matter of time when you come to the state what you are, guys, right? So I think so. And regarding the angel investment, I could say from my side, yeah, so probably it's really easy to trust people you know already, right? But in the very beginning, yeah, probably it's everything about the people, business plans, market data is like all secondaries. If the right people are on board, so they will find the way. Yeah. Donatas, what do you think?
Yeah, I completely agree. And I first think is that we 1% done, right? And it's not that we are here done and that's it, and we know all of the lessons and things like that. But probably kind of important learnings that an achievement. What I really want to celebrate here and to point is that even from our kind of border country in Europe, the global technology solutions can really go out into the world and be successful, right? To the level where we are right now, and it's really doable. So it's you just go out and do whatever you're entrepreneur, angel investor, or whatever. And our ecosystem grew, and there are people who can help discuss and move forward. So the idea is very simple, right? Persistent doing achieves things, right? And you are a great example of that, even if we are just 1% done, right? And the hardest work is still ahead, right? All things are clear. But also we need to celebrate our small success here. Small in a grand scheme of kind of things, but quite big for us as individuals. And advice is very simple, as Mindaugas said, right? People is the first thing. So I'm not even thinking about joining, becoming a partner of any startup company or entrepreneur if we don't have a human relationship or human connection whatsoever. Now it's impossible to do that, right? So it's not that different from angel investors or VC investors. So this thing is important, and it's not numbers or Excels or business plans that are doing business at the end of the day, right? It's people who are doing and with these many pivots, what we have in Interactio, probably it cannot be different, right? And I'm sure this is probably also not in 10 years. Interactio probably not going to be exactly what we are describing right now or how we see the product. It's going to evolve so much into the future, but we probably know that the team you're having right now, the leaders of the team, are guiding in the direction which might be beneficial and create value for all the stakeholders, right? So this is an important part. So if you feel that, if you believe in that, and these things are backed not only by good words or just crazy presentations, right? But by at least some real experience and know-how, you just invest and go do and help people to do business and partner with them. So.
Yeah. So here it is. Success is not born overnight. No. If you want to have a strong team, you need to have impactful business, not only a business. And for us, it's only 1% of the road yet, even though it looks big achievement in our road so far. We are continuing the journey, and with this investment, we will be hiring the top industry talent now. So if you're watching and you would like to be part of this impact-making business, ping us. We might be looking for you now. So thanks, everybody.
I would also, guys, add that probably perspective of yours, what is looking forward right now, right? I know you mentioned a very good thing there, hiring, but what's the future? So what is Interactio in 2 years from now? You have all the resources you need, right? You have all the support you need. You have the best investors, most professional investors in SaaS, B2B SaaS, right? Enterprise sales. You have investors from all the markets we need, right? So what next? So what are we going to do now? How, if we're going to speak in 2 years from now, where are we going to see Interactio? So what is next frontier you want to reach, and how fast you're going to run now?
Mm-hmm. So the future is always very bright. Our goal is to continuously move to enable those billions of people to speak in their preferred language, and what we're doing right now, we decided to tackle the most challenging environment, right? The most important meetings in this planet, where there's no margin for error, where you really have to be the most professional you can. So this is the journey that we continue with Interactio to enable those top organizations, big corporate clients, to get the most professional interpretation, and by doing that, we want to simplify the product, so other use cases where you have a meeting, you can have interpretation with you. So we will continuously going towards more billions of people over these coming years. So first we're starting with the most challenging clients and the ones that really need the most professional solution. But then we will continue enabling this product for other use cases. So other potential clients and human beings can speak in their language. So be it a video meeting or any other situation. So this is what we're thriving for, to simplify the technology so it's easier for you to access interpretation, building the world-class solution for the interpreters so they really can have the best working conditions from their chosen place of work. And then, of course, expanding the team to really cater that demand that is there right now.
So we can expect quite a lot of talent coming from global scenes to Lithuania. Klaipėda in this case.
That's a
That's
plan.
good. That's good. Let's do it. Let's do it. That would be amazing. That's good stuff.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
thanks.
That was
Pleasure.
fun.